Next, we will have our last Take 10 session, and it's entitled Revolutionary, a Lego mosaic portrait of MLK, presented by Dr. Aaron Lightman, Professor of Biology.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to try to share my screen, so just bear with me as I try to get this right. Oops, let me see if I can. Okay. Let me see if I can get Zoom on the screen at the same time. Sorry, this is always a challenge. Okay. Can you see that now? You see my title slide? Okay, and okay, great. My name's Aaron Liepman. I'm a professor of biology here at Eastern, and I am excited to present Revolutionary, a Lego mosaic portrait of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I want to start by thanking organizers for allowing me to participate. I am honored to have the opportunity to share. I admit that I feel a bit nervous because it's the first time I've presented at an MLK Day event, and I am definitely not an MLK scholar, more like an MLK early learner. Oops. So in case you're wondering what you're looking at on the screen, I'm showing a close-up image of a 3.5 inch by 2.5 inch portion of the MLK mosaic that I created. So you'll see these arrows on multiple pages as I go through the presentation, just to give you a sense of how big of a piece that you're seeing. So I'm showing this portion to demonstrate that the mosaic has been built using geometric blocks. So you can see these are standard Lego bricks. And since I'm a scientist, I will include the scale bars just to give you a sense of scale as we proceed. So with mosaics like these, viewing in person allows for interaction from different vantages and distances, revealing different details from different perspectives. And depending on how close or how far or what your vantage is, hard geometric lines morph into smooth contours, and blocks of colors can become gradients. And since this mosaic isn't yet on public display, I'm going to try to simulate views from different vantages by showing progressively larger portions of the mosaic as I move through the presentation. But I do hope that anyone interested will be able to interact with it in person in the future once it's out there in the public for folks to see. Recent events have inspired me to dig deeper within myself and to have more awareness and learn more about racism and social justice. I've engaged in conversations and introspection to identify my own biases, and I work daily in an effort to address them. I feel that I'm slowly emerging from a fog that has obscured racism all around me. This is allowing me to more clearly see and not to turn away from the tragedy of racism that has been here all along. Over the past several years, I've been shocked by the dialogue in society, which has become increasingly and more outwardly toxic, divisive, and threatening to people of color. I've listened as politicians demonized and attacked peaceful civil rights demonstrators and encouraged violent racist insurrectionists. I witnessed COVID-19 disproportionately sickening and killing Black and brown people, many of whom were in harm's way as a result of generations of systemic racism. I watched in horror the inhumanity of a police officer murdering George Floyd by suffocating him for 8 minutes and 46 seconds while he pleaded for help. These events and many others have shaken me out of my fog, but what could I do to make a positive contribution? I reached out to Black friends to extend my support. My friends shared deep and justified feelings of outrage and hurt. My friends encouraged me to stand for racial equity, to speak out against racial prejudice, and to teach my children to be kind and tolerant to people of all colors. As many of the peaceful civil rights protests of the summer descended into violence, I was inspired to create a lasting work of art to honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As you know, Dr. King advocated for peaceful, nonviolent, and creative protest by civil disobedience to combat injustices. While I worked on this project, I listened to recordings of many of Dr. King's sermons and speeches. It was amazing to hear Dr. King's voice while I worked and to listen to him speak about the Montgomery bus boycott, the Memphis sanitation worker strike, and many other issues. As I listened and worked, I sometimes felt like I was a member of the audience of the artwork that I was creating. I titled the piece Revolutionary because Dr. King was a civil rights revolutionary and because his ideas were revolutionary, and they still are. Listening to his speeches convinced me that now is the time for me to do more to promote racial equity. So I'll just provide a few details about Revolutionary. This mosaic depicts Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. addressing a large crowd of about 50,000 attendees at the Los Angeles Freedom Rally on Sunday, May 26, 1963. The Freedom Rally took place about 3 months before the March on Washington, and it was among the largest civil rights rallies at the time. It may have been the largest until its time. Some notable quotes. I'm just going to show a few slides with some notable quotes from his speech that he delivered that day. The speech was called "We Want to Be Free." I'm sure you've heard some of these. So I built Revolutionary using about 15,000 hand-painted Lego bricks. This equates to about 30 pounds of Lego. It measures 67 inches by 52 inches, including frame. It took me about 5 months to build, to create and build. And I estimate about 125 hours of hands-on time. And I intend to donate or loan this artwork for display somewhere that enables free viewing and interaction from different vantages by people of all ages. I hope that those viewing it are inspired to learn more about Dr. King, and in doing so, this artwork helps promote racial unity, because we definitely could use more of that. I just want to finish with some acknowledgements. Actually, this is the second to last slide. So first want to thank Dr. Claiborne Carson, who's the director of the MLK Research and Education Institute at Stanford University, for help identifying the MLK photo that inspired this mosaic. Also, Michelle Ngome, her website's there. On her blog, she had a full recording of the "We Want to Be Free" speech, and I was really trying to find it so I could listen to it while I built. I listened to a lot of the other ones, had a real challenge finding it until I found her blog. And my brother for sharing the photo that inspired this mosaic. And I just want to finish with a couple of requests. I ask that anybody who can help in any way to please contact me. I would like to find a suitable place for this piece to be loaned or donated for display. And so I'm welcome suggestions and contacts of people who can help me find a place where it can have most impact. And I also enjoyed learning about MLK so much, want to continue to learn more about luminaries of Black history and civil rights. So if you have ideas for the next piece in the series, please send them to me. My contact information is shown. And that is it. Thank you.